All right, I'm just testing to make sure that my microphone's on because I recorded this whole podcast with Tebo and my microphone wasn't on and I was recording off my laptop. But luckily, I had a backup on my Rodecaster Pro and I was able to do that. So even after 255 episodes, I still make mistakes. But we had some silly season news drop today that has got the RC world burning up. I had a good chat with Tebo about his 10 scale worlds and all that good stuff. This is episode 255. I say, let's just stop all the jibber jabbering. Let's get right into all the meat and potatoes of this podcast and drop that intro. As you can see, I'm looking for it. There we go.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing races.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
There we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 255 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and this is podcast number 3 of the week. I will be traveling next week to the H2 Grand Prix, as well as the Georgia Pizza Classics. I will not have time to drop a podcast, so I asked Tebo to come on. We're going to talk a little about 10 scale worlds. Obviously, you know, the big news is David Ronnefalk and Mayako Sweet and Race. I'm going to talk about that. But before I do that, I have to say thank you. Thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We cannot do this without you guys. My Facebook's blowing up. My Messenger's blowing up. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb so I can record this. So I'm not answering you because I'm recording this. And I got so many messages, obviously, as I knew I would. I was kind of anticipating this morning. Also, thank you to all of the NNRC patrons and YouTube members. I know we're having a slight little issue with the Patreon right now. It's still there, and I just can't make posts to it right now. So that's why you guys ain't getting an early release of this. I apologize for that. Trying to message to Patreon and get that all sorted out. But I do appreciate the support of that. Also, the YouTube members, as you guys might get it. We'll see. Also, thank you to these awesome companies that support the podcast. We can't do it without them. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sun Pedal USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC, Donovan RC, Racecraft USA. Shout out to the Florida RC Championships who dropped a big bomb, big news last night. I'll talk about that real quick. My boy Danny Paz at WRCE. Shout out to my boy Gene Stroud, who's on his way to be a mechanic at the Worlds for Hunter King. Check out SJ Racing for some all your kit builds and all that type of stuff. House of RC, RCGP, and shout out to our drivers, David Ronnefalk, Jared Tebo, Robert Batty, Alexander Hackberg, and Matty G. Good luck to Matty G at the Worlds this weekend. If you guys wish to support the podcast a little bit more, you can by joining the Patreon or joining the YouTube membership. And you can also go into our written description. We have links for all of the sponsors. Some have coupon codes, like Donovan RC has a coupon code. Invisible Speed has an affiliate link. Some of them have affiliate links. Use those affiliate links. Helps us out a little bit. If there is no affiliate link or coupon code, just please put in the notes that you heard about this for the No Name RC podcast. It really helps us out, and we appreciate it. Thank you to those companies for all of their support. Alrighty then. So quick shout outs. Shout out to a lot of people having birthdays this past weekend coming up already. Shout out to my boy David Bada. I see it's his birthday as well. Good luck to him at the Worlds, and may he have good luck to him. What else? PZO Spec Tire race going on. I saw Gary at Gary's RC Racing. I saw he had a live video of that last night, showing all of that. I saw Cody Thompson and my boy Sean dropped Sean was a guest. I didn't watch it all, but they dropped the Pro Potentials. I actually like that name. The Pro Potentials podcast that they did. Keep up the good work. I encourage anybody to make podcasts and keep it up. It is a grind, but you have to enjoy it. So shout out to those guys on the Pro Potentials. And shout out to everybody this weekend who's going out RC racing and having fun. I wish you guys all the best. Be safe and be a great RC ambassador. With that said, we're going to get right into some high-tech RC and invisible speed news. Obviously, the invisible speed has that new. If you sign up before October 1st, you can get a pre-order of the Invisible Speed 2.0 book. And don't forget, High Tech RC. Thank you for all the support. So don't forget, Invisible Speed, sign up before October 1st on the online course. If you buy the online course, you will get a pre-ordered book. You will be entered in the pre-order for the book 2.0, which is coming out later on this year. There are affiliate links in the written description of the podcast for that.
Stop scrolling. You want to be Lewis Hamilton? Learn something new with Invisible Speed. You can't do everything at 100% maximum speed. You have to be smooth. I mean, when you drive a real car, if you drive a real car, how do you just, when you get to a 90-degree corner to turn into the parking lot, do you go like that with the steering wheel? Do you like slam on the throttle and the brake? No. You probably turn the wheel smooth and get on the throttle smooth. Same thing with an RC car. If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
And also, thank you to High Tech RC for all of their continued support. High Tech RC is celebrating the 50th year of being in the RC industry. I got the new. I'm gonna see all the High Tech guys here at the H2GP. They also came on as a sponsor of that, so I'll meet some of them guys there. They're gonna have a booth. I'm gonna pick up my new charger. Can't wait to start charging up my boat batteries with that, and a couple of servers that they have that I'm going to be putting in some of my rides. As you guys see, I've been kind of mechanicking and doing some wrenching here lately. Been wrenching on my crawlers, been wrenching on my Techno MT410. Eventually, I'm going to get my Mayako finished as well. And I got a few other projects going on. So thank you to High Tech RC. If you guys want, you could go to High Tech RC where-to-buy.com or hightechrc.com/where-to-buy and find out where to buy your high tech products. Okay, so before we get into the Ronnefalk breaking the internet news, we're going to talk about last night we did a live with, first of all, also, I forgot to say, thank you everybody who participated in the latest Ultimate Racing Engine Waffle or Hobby Wing ESC Waffle. We greatly appreciate that. That sold out pretty fast. We did the draw last night. And congratulations to Brandon Hastings, I think his name was, who won that. So thank you guys all for the support with the waffles. To Lance McDonald for organizing all of that. So Lance had a big announcement with the Florida RC Championships. Obviously, you guys know I'm very affiliated with them now, working with Lance and Danny and Patrick and Gene and everybody involved in that. I am scheduled to go to the next two races, the last two races of this year. But the big news is that he is actually, there's a couple of news. He's going to have a spec tire class for the rookie class next year in the 8 scale. But Lance is going to start the 1/10 scale version of the Florida RC Championships. As you guys have heard me say, Florida is booming right now with RC, kind of lacking on the 10 scale side. I mean, they have lots of 10 scale tracks, but no real series going on for them like they used to have, like the Super Cup and all that type of stuff. So with the success of the Florida RC Championships in 1/8 scale, races selling out in 30 minutes, Lance is going to take that same platform, that same model. That's the word. That same model, with the Florida RC Championship from 1/8 scale to 10 scale. And people are really excited about that. I think I might be coming to some of those events too. We'll see how it all works out. And I wish everybody in Florida and the Florida RC Championships with their 10 scale program, I wish them all the best because I think it's awesome. And I can't wait to see how it all works out. And I think this is going to be really good for 10 scale in Florida RC. I'm also hearing rumors of maybe a new track coming, a completely indoor dirt track coming up near the Tampa area as well. So we'll know more about that as time goes by. But it is slated to start in 2024. The success of the Florida RC Championships, I've seen it for myself, went there, enjoyed it. Lance pulls out all the stops to make you probably one of the best series going. Capped, likes to be done on time. Obviously, if weather is a factor, he can't do that. He has coverage, pictures. I'll be going there doing my stuff with it, as well as VIP pits that people can take. And these races have been very successful. This series has been very successful. People take up really are into the points. So kudos to Lance and Hollis crew. Also has some other news dropping here soon when it gets all sorted out. I'm actually affiliated with that. So thank you, Lance, and thank you to all the Florida RC community for all their support throughout the years in RC. As you guys know, we have the Worlds going on this weekend. So the Worlds, I had Jared Tebo come on, and we went through like his first Worlds. We went looked at video. We talked about. He was telling. It was really a cool podcast. I wanted to get his. He's been doing this for 23 years. I thought it'd be cool to. He was the last person to actually win. He won two-wheel drive in 2013 when the Worlds was last in USA. With all the hype that's coming up with the Worlds at the Hobby Action, I wish I was going, and seeing everybody going there. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was going. So I had Tebo on. We sat off. We went from his first 10 scale Worlds right up to the last one. And then I got his thoughts and opinions on the upcoming World. So it was a great chat. We have some video in there from it. He told us some cool stories about it and his thoughts on it, and how he, what he remembers from those races. So thank you, Jared Teebs, for having that flashback with us. It was really a good chat with you. And I appreciate it. So I hope you guys enjoy that. That is the main interview of this podcast. But obviously, with the news dropping this morning about David Ronnefalk and Mayako splitting ways, I have to talk about that, right? So JQ and I recorded a podcast earlier this week. I didn't know about this until after the podcast. He told me after the podcast, so I haven't known for a few days. But unfortunately, the ride is over for Mayako and Ronnefalk after about 2 years. They came on, roughly just a little bit shy of 2 years, and it's a shame, right? I'm a little bit bummed. Obviously, Ronnefalk has become a really good friend to me over the years. I like that guy. I love that guy a lot. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, racers in the world. I was super pumped when he came to Mayako. Obviously, I don't work for Mayako, but obviously, I'm affiliated with him because. I used to be the JQ racing team manager and all that type of stuff. And JQ is my boy. And, we do this podcast together and he's part of that and all that good stuff. So it's very difficult, right? It's like having two best friends right now who kind of had a breakup, right? Or whatever. So I did talk to David this morning, tell him, he's still my boy. And he's like, yeah, man, one love and all that type of stuff. I wish him all his best on his future endeavors. And I do. I wish him all his best. JQ, I've talked to, he explained to me how it went. I kind of know, I know both sides of the story. I know both sides of the story in this event. So I'm going to try and lay it out to you. A lot of people, the internet's going crazy right now. I just want to address that. There's people out there that think these guys had some big blowout and all that type of stuff. No, it didn't happen like that. There's lots of people out there who are blaming Mayako and saying it's shit and all that type of stuff. Well, I think you people have really, I don't pay much attention to that stuff because I think people have really short memories. The first year with David and Mayako were absolutely great. Yes, he was fast right off the bat. He got a 5th at DNC, won e-buggy, won the European Championships last year at IBC, came 2nd at the Worlds. He had a very good year in his first year of Mayako. And his second year, let's be honest, we talked about in the last podcast, has been horrible. He has not had the results. This year it started at DNC, being in the D-man and all that type of stuff. So the people out there that are blaming the car, really, you have to look at what really happened here. And I'm going to try and break it down how I think what happened. So basically, a lot of people think that, like I said, think this was some big blow up. From what I was told, I wasn't there in the meetings or whatever. They had a meeting this week after the Euros, and basically they came to an agreement that Mayako wasn't happy, David wasn't happy, and they decided to release him from his contract. He is going a separate way. He is going to find another chassis manufacturer. More on that, who I think he's going to go to in a bit. But so I guess we kind of have to start from the end of last year, coming off the Worlds. Such a great performance by Ronnefalk, a great almost winning it. That would have been so awesome. And going into DNC, being one of the favorite drivers to win that race. So there's one big thing that David changed between 2022 and 2023, and that was joining Matrix Tires. Right. And I know people out there are going to say, well, Ongaro done well with the tires. And no, he hasn't. He's doing better. He's doing better than David is. but he hasn't been as dominant as he has been. And I think he would even admit that. Now, so a lot of people think that tires ain't a big deal. Tires are a big deal. David went from being free on running whatever tire he wanted to being constricted to that one tire. Now, a lot of people thought this was going to be a deal like we see with the T-Pro guys where they can run whatever tires they want. But no, David stuck to his guns. I saw this at DNC when he was in the D-Main, and he is still trying to make those tires work. And I'm just like, I really wish this guy would run other tires. Obviously, Matrix is new on the off-road brand of tires. They have been doing on-road tires for quite some time. It takes a long time to get tires up to snuff in off-road. So many different compounds, tread patterns, so many different changing conditions and stuff like that. So it's a big difference, right? And they just haven't gotten that yet. It will happen, but they haven't gotten to it yet. So I kind of knew that after DNC, this was going to be a problem. You know, we see a lot of drivers that can go on other tires, but he didn't do that. He's not allowed to do that. So you have one company who's the tire brand, and then you have the other companies who suffer, who I feel, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I feel suffer from the tire choice, right? So we saw this continue on over. We went to IBC. He was not on pace. We went, as we go on. Obviously, he had a very poor performance at the Euros. We've seen him have some poor performances at different tracks. Not poor, but that's not up to what we saw last year, right? So his results have been mediocre this year. That is a fact. That is not an opinion. That is an absolute fact. Some will say car, some will say tires. I think it's been a combination of the tires. I think it's been a combination of maybe not putting as much practice in as he did last year. I see in Ongaro, he's been racing a lot. He's been practicing a lot. He's been going to a lot of races, so he's getting a little bit used to the tires. I don't know what the reason for that was with David. I don't know, but I definitely can say, in my opinion, I didn't see him practicing as much as he was last year. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. Not just JQ. I think a lot of other people in the industry. I've heard it. I've heard this from other people in the industry, old school guys who know who've been there, world champions, and all this stuff. Is messaging me and say, "What's going on with David? Why isn't he practicing?" I don't know what his reasons were for that. Maybe just enjoying life. I don't know. But I think that was a big factor. Now, if you look at the end of the day, he is paid to get results, right? That's his job. He is paid. He was the paid driver to get results. And it's no different from your job. If you're not performing at your job, eventually your job performance is going to be called into question. So after talking to JQ about it, after talking to Ronnefalk about it, like I've talked to Ronnefalk, like he wasn't 100% happy with some of the things that was happening with Mayako. And Mayako wasn't happy with what was going on with David. I think mainly the tire choice and choosing to get on a tire and all that stuff, because they hired him and he didn't have a tire brand. He didn't have a tire sponsor. No, David has every right to go make money and get a tire sponsor and all that type of stuff. He has every right to do that. He is a paid professional driver. This is his job. He needs to make money just like you and I need to make money. And he is one of the best drivers in the world. So he has every right to go out there and get a paycheck from a tire company. He didn't do that for many years. And Mayako was paying him good. That's from what I was told. This is all I'm told. But somewhere at the point, I think the honeymoon was over. After DNC, we saw that bad result. Then IBC kind of was not a good result. A race that he won the Euros at previously the year before. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like they had a meeting. So I know they had a meeting prior to us recording, me and JQ recording this past weekend. And I think they just came to agreement. They said, look, you're not happy. We're not happy. We're going to go our separate ways. Now, is it JQ's fault? Is it David's fault? I don't think so. I think it was a combination of both. I think it's like if one party's not happy and the other party's not happy, it doesn't really make sense trying to continue that. Think of it as being in a relationship. If you're not happy with your significant other and they're not happy with you and you're together and all you're doing is being miserable in the end, what's the best thing to do? Yes, it hurts, but you got to kind of split up. And I think that's it, just kind of what happened at the end. I don't think there was, I know there was no like arguments or anything like that. Mayako wasn't happy with his results. David wasn't happy with some things that were going on in Mayako. And I think they just ended up splitting. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened in the meeting. I know a lot of people are saying JQ doesn't, he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that and all that type of stuff. Now, yeah, JQ has his faults. I'm sure he didn't listen to some things. Maybe David wanted to try some different things, and JQ was hard-headed about that. And then maybe JQ and Mayako weren't happy about, I know they weren't happy about his choice to sign tires and not being able to be flexible on tires. I look at it from both sides of the thing. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible because David's still my boy, love him like life, and I wanted to do well. And obviously Mayako and everybody I want them to do well either. But if you ain't getting the results, and that's what you're there for, right? And then if the company isn't happy with your results, and then you're not happy with the company, you might as well go your separate ways. So that's what happened this week. They decided to go their separate ways. There's no big drama behind it. I talked to Joseph. He seems okay with it. It's like, well, now we'll go find another driver. We won't spend as much money. They save some money. David, I talked to David this morning. He's like, now I'm going to reset. I'm going to make some decisions about how I go forward, which I think he needs to, right? He needs to reset. He needs to figure out what he needs to do to get faster. Not to get faster. He always has to. He has not forgotten how to drive. He knows how to drive. He needs to reset, really think about what he's going to do next, and move forward, because I still believe that David Ronnefalk is one of the best drivers in the world, if not the best. And I think he's going to make some decisions about what he's going to do chassis-wise and what he's going to do in his RC future coming up here. And I'm sure we'll know where he's going to go next and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's what happened. There was no big kerfuffle. There was no big shouting match. It was just a decision between these two people. They decided to go separate ways. That happens in life. This is life. This is business. This is how things go. If you're at your job, you're not happy at your job, your performance starts lacking, your job isn't happy with your performance, eventually you either agree to go or you leave, they fire you or whatever. But the best thing is a mutual agreement. I talked to JQ. He seems like, yeah, I'm fine with Ronnefalk. Ronnefalk seems to be fine too. I'm sure it'd be very awkward at the next races that they go to. But for me, I'm still cool with JQ. I'm still cool with Ronnefalk. And that's how I kind of want it to be. Am I disappointed? Of course I'm disappointed, because I wanted this to work, and it was such a great first year. The sophomore year was not as great, as we can tell. What happens with Mayako now? I mean, they have Robert. Tebo is supposed to be retiring at the end of this year. So not sure what's going to happen there. They have Pecco, who's really fast. I know JQ, they want to get somebody in the USA, but I mean, or I don't know what they do. Do they go get a driver in the USA? Does Tebo continue on racing select events or whatever? I don't know what happens with them. That's above I'm not affiliated with them. That's not my problem in that sense anymore. But I have to make some decisions what they're going to do. If I was Mayako, I would just focus on Robert and Pecco and probably try to find somebody eventually over there in America. I would send Robert and Pecco over to America as much as possible to race. And I would focus on rebuilding over there and doing things and keeping this steady thing going there in Europe that they have going, because they have a pretty good presence in Europe. Will the move of Ronnefalk affect Mayako? Yes. I'm sure he will go. Hampus is going to go with him. I think a lot of people will probably go with Ronnefalk. I think a lot of people will stay because Robert is also very influential. And a lot of people that are in the Mayako group are diehard Mayako people, right? As for David, where does David go? So the rumors are, you heard rumors coming out of Euros. You heard TLR, you heard X-Ray, S-Works, right? These are the three companies that I keep hearing. So I thought I'd just break them down and think about it. TLR, I could see this being possible because he has a great relationship with TLR. When he was over in the UK, when he was over in the USA for DNC, he ran the TLR Truggy. I know Trannon and guys like him. I know if he was deciding to do, if he was going to do the Worlds this weekend, he was going to run TLR cars. That's a possibility. The only thing I don't see happening is there's no infrastructure for TLR in Europe, right? They used to be big in France and have drivers, and they used to be pretty big in Europe, but they don't have that no more. We see TLR, Horizon cutting down on their number of drivers, all that type of stuff. So they're kind of going in the opposite way of spending money on these drivers. They have Fend, who they spend money on, and whatnot. And if he goes to TLR, he will not be, in my opinion, he will not be the top driver. Fend will always be the top driver. So TLR, maybe. I would say 60%, 60-40 that he goes. S-Works. S-Works just come off. S-Works right now, Juan Carlos Canes is the top S-Works driver. He's the top racer in Europe and has probably surpassed, in my opinion, right now, Ongaro and Ronnefalk as the top one of the, like I always said, Mayfield, Ongaro, Fend, JCC, and Ronnefalk as my top 5. And that top 5 now, JCC has surpassed those guys. Not all of them, but he's like probably third top driver in my opinion right now. So they have JCC, they have Boots, who just had a great weekend. They have a plethora of other S-Works drivers as well around Europe. They're doing pretty good in Europe. Over in America, they have Bornhorst, Heckert, Camden Lime, Brett B. Rose, and those guys. So they're pretty good on that side of things. They don't really need Ronnefalk, but they probably wouldn't him. But if they take Ronnefalk, who goes? Like, they have the money. They have the money to do it, but it has to be fit into the budget as well. So, I don't know. S-Works, I would say S-Works, I'm more 40-60. 40% chance he goes there. 40% chance. All right, so that brings up X-Ray. Now, this one kind of still shocks me, but this is the strongest rumor that I heard. I heard that it's X-Ray. Oh, I've heard this from multiple different people now, right? So I kind of just trying to think how this is all going to work, right? So he has X-Ray. They have their own engine brand. They have ONROAD Cars. We know he's affiliated with Automatics and running Automatics and all that type of stuff as well. They have Coelho, who is the undisputed number 1 racer at period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that Coelho is number 1 racer at X-Ray. They have Tessman, who, motherfucking Tessman ain't on the best of terms ever since the HB times, but Tessman's over in Europe. Over in the USA. So I don't know. Does X-Ray have the money to? Yeah, of course. I think X-Ray has the money to pay Ronnefalk what he wants. But it's gonna be a whole. I don't know how that whole system's gonna work. With Coelho, obviously Coelho does multiple classes, right? His focus is ONROAD, but it's gonna, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to see. Obviously he's also dedicated to Adrian with Corsa engines. And another thing about X-Ray that we've known over the years is that X-Ray has always been a chassis manufacturer that if you ain't on the fastest tire, they will make you be on the fastest tire. We saw this happen in 2014 with Martin Beyer when he had to, I think it was either left AKA or Proline, one of the two. Can't remember. It's a long time ago. But at the Worlds, he had to announce that he left them because he was forced to run the tires that X-Ray wanted to run. We saw in 2017 or 16 at Neo Buggy. Had to be 17 with Tessman switching over to the J Concept tires. I'm pretty sure that X-Ray had a lot to do with that. So we've seen X-Ray kind of be forceful about tires and whatnot, that they want their chassis drivers to win. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how that all works out. Now, I don't know. I asked David. He says, this is what David said to me. He goes, I'm going to take some time. I haven't made any decisions yet. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to reset, refocus, and do what I got to do. And so I have to respect that. But that's just my speculation. That's just some of the rumors and companies that I was thinking that he could go to. I don't know what other companies he could go to. I know Kyosho has been thrown out there. We've seen Techno being thrown out there. Serpent even Associated. But I just don't see Associated doing it. They don't need him. They have Rifkin. They have Ongaro. I don't see Serpent having the money to do it. Techno, I don't see it either. Because they forked out a lot of money over to Mayfield right now, and that's their bread and butter. They're paying a lot of, they're really focused on America. They have Barufalo over in Italy as well. So they're trying to build, I think they're steadily trying to build a European presence, but maybe Ronnefalk is the key to that, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Kyosho, maybe. I mean, he's won 2 European championships with Kyosho, so maybe. But I just don't see them having the money to do it either, right? But Kyosho Europe has a pretty strong infrastructure, but Kyosho is owned by a bank now. So they're going to make corporate decisions. So I don't know what's going to happen with Ronnefalk, but I do wish him all the best. Obviously, I know right now the Mayako movement is a little bit upset. A lot of guys upset about it, but that's how it goes, right? This is business. Nothing's promised to nobody. And when these guys have contracts up, they have every right to go explore other options, right? And David, if he wasn't happy at Mayako and Mayako wasn't happy with him, then I think at the end of the day, this was the best decision. It's like any other job. If your job is results based, you have to have good results, right? And if you don't put in, if your job doesn't feel like you're getting the good results, they have an option to explore other options as well. If you feel you ain't getting provided with everything you need to have the best options at your job, you have options to go check out other things as well. So I think the best possible situation for me was to stay on, and they could have made things work. But obviously that wasn't that they probably talked about that, but that's not what they decided. So in the end, not an easy decision to make. It sucks for Mayako, I think, more. But now David is free to go on and do what he wants to do, reset and get back on that horse. I wish him all the best. I wish Mayako all the best. And this too shall pass. This is the start of silly season 2023-2024. Once again, David Ronnefalk sets it off. It will be interesting to see where he goes. And I wish him all the luck. He's still one of our drivers, still a good friend of mine. And I wish Mayako all the luck as well, because obviously I'm affiliated with that. And all the people out there that are hating and talking about the car and all that type of stuff, I think you need to look at facts. Facts was he was fast as fuck last year, right? This year, he wasn't. What was one of the big things he changed this year? It was tires. And I think that, for me, and my honest opinion, maybe not everybody agree with me, but I think that's when it started. When you make that tire decision and you have to stick by that decision and all the other sponsors suffer, that's what happens. Because, and you know what? I am not alone in thinking that. I've talked to other people in the industry, higher ups, people who have lots of experience, and they all said the same thing. They said the car was good last year. How can he go from winning stuff last year to not doing well this year? It's got to be something, and it's got to be the tires. It might be other things too. I know he changed servers. I know he changed radio, all that type of stuff. But in my opinion, this goes to show how important tires are. And this is another reason why I want to see, why I think it's important that we see at these races spec tires or whatnot. So with that said, we're going to stop jibber-jabbering about the news. We went on for this about 20 minutes. All the best to David Ronnefalk. All the best to Mayako. And I hope I'll see him. Obviously, I'll see him at the races. And I hope to see him doing well, because I believe he's still one of the best racers in the world. And who knows who Mayako is going to hire, or if they're going to hire somebody. But they also have to kind of reset and refocus and think about what they're going to do in the future. And I wish them all the best as well. Now, with that said, I think that's all I'm going to talk about that. We are going to get on to the main interview, a chat about the Worlds with Jared Tebo. I want to thank I want to thank Techno RC for all their continued support as we bring in a flashback or a look back at the 10 Scale Worlds through Jared Tebo.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance 8-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
Joining me in the virtual studio is a man who needs no introduction to the RC racing world. I asked him if he would like to come on and talk about the upcoming World Championships that start, I believe, Saturday, as we're recording this. Who has won 2 of them himself, has had an illustrious 10-scale career himself. If you guys don't know who this gentleman is, then you guys have been sleeping under a rock when it comes to RC racing for the last 23 years. Welcome, Jared Tebo. Teebs, what's up, man?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, not too much.
How you doing?
Yeah, I believe the 10-scale Worlds come to the U.S. I'm not going. So
I know.
On that, a little bit mixed on that, but it's all good.
Well, the last time that the 10-scale Worlds were in America, you actually won them. And at Chico 2013, we're going to play that video in a bit. I was rewatching that race, and what a great track, right? Off-road, outdoors, Sugar, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was an awesome race. Crazy, like the 2-wheel portion was crazy with rain, and then a couple rounds of qualifying getting canceled, and then not knowing if we were going to run the mains, and then kind of just how they prepped it, and like they kind of just made like asphalt almost for the mains. We only ran the A's, and yeah, it was really crazy that main day. And yeah, I was able to win A1 and A2 just barely. I think I won both of them by like 3 or 4 tenths. So it was super tight racing.
Yeah, and A1, Lee Martin raced you to the line, and then
Neil Craig.
Oh, was it Neil? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got their paint schemes. I got their paint schemes confused. And then in A2, Mayfield came from way back of the pack to almost pip you at the line as well. And then I was thinking about this race, and I was like, man, this guy you had another great nationals there this past week, this year in June there. And I was thinking about that. And obviously with this, the 10-year anniversary of the Worlds being in America, it's a lot of hype. Like, I'm starting to see everybody start traveling, making those posts on Facebook. You see other European guys and people from around the world coming. And I'm like I'm almost like, man, I want to be there. But it's going to be at Hobby Action. We're looking forward to the coverage. And then with Mod, I think he's going to do a good job. He's got a great team. I saw some pictures of the track. I thought it was really cool was they had photos of all the world champions. That was awesome. I thought that was really cool. We need to see more stuff like that.
Yeah, it looked like maybe it was a sticker that ran down the wall. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. To have like every world champion on there, I thought was really neat.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do a great job. Those guys at Hobby Action do a really good job, take a lot of pride in that place. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, maybe I would go out there and just kind of watch and hang out and kind of take a different perspective on it. But then opportunity popped up where I could go to the Peach State classic race. So I decided to do that instead. So I'm kind of mixed on it. I wish I was going, but maybe I'll hit a Worlds as a spectator different time in the future.
Yeah, I'll be at that race as well. We were just talking about that off camera. Georgia Peach State Classic is the following weekend. Your last Worlds was then in 2018, then in China, right? Or did you go to China?
It was Slovakia in 2019.
Okay, so you did go in 2019. I wasn't sure. Okay, I wasn't sure. I should have probably researched that.
I BQ'd both classes.
You what?
I BQ'd both classes.
Oh, okay.
Both.
So it was a World you want to forget in a bit. But very difficult race too. That was the grip was very, I remember watching those guys drive and it looked like they were driving on edge every time, like one false move and they would have just been off track.
Similar feeling to how this World is going to be. Really, we're like, you kind of have grit, but it's slippery and like you just have to drive super accurate. So probably a different feel because you're on slicks and it's completely different dirt, but it's probably kind of similar, I would imagine.
Okay. We're going to touch on that, on this slick racing, the Europeans coming over to do that type of stuff. But I kind of wanted to touch on, you've done this for 23 years. I went and did some digging, and your first World, don't tell me I lost that. Your first 10 scale World was in 2003. It looks like her. It says at the Minareg RC Speedway. Is that correct? Is Wikipedia correct?
They are.
And you finished 28th and 24th. Where is Minareg anyway? Where was that track to?
Florida.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, where they had like the winter champs weren't there, but there was another race that used to be there, I think, quite a bit. Yeah, they held like the nationals. I think I went there maybe once for nationals. It was a cool track. Yeah, that was a tough Worlds. Like we had crazy rain and.
Was this the Worlds where you had to get like tractor trailer to the track?
What was that?
Was this the race where I remember one race where it was like the whole road was flooded out? And you had people were getting like they had a semi truck with a flatbed on the back taking people to the track.
I think that did happen at that track, but not for Worlds, not that event.
Might have been a Nationals or something.
Kind of before my time, I had heard that, there was like crazy flooding and you took like a flatbed trailer to get to the track because the road was closed or something.
Okay. All right. And then that was 2003?
First World Championship that in in 2003.
Beg your pardon? I missed that.
Cavallari won 4-wheel that year. That was his first world championship.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was 16.
Really? Wow, that must have been something. That must have been a big deal back then because the young guys weren't really winning back then.
For the win, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Cavallari's had an illustrious world championship 10-scale career as well. And still, out of you three guys that started, he's still like the one that's doing it hardcore the most, I would say. Out of you, Mayfield and Jared. Yeah. Sure, yeah. All right. So we move on. We go to 2005, where it's in the AF model ring. This is in Italy. You had a 5 and 2-wheel drive and a 15 in 2005. So much better for you that year. Then, of course, you go on to 2007, which we have some video of this from the Hakkasan Arena in Japan. And I was talking to you about this. This is very old footage, people. So I know it's going to be pixelated and all that type of stuff. So we're going to have a look at it. This was wow, look at this. Like up in the mountains.
Yeah, the track was so rad. It was at a ski resort, so it was like summertime there. But yeah, at a ski resort, really, really cool track. Just like such an epic layout. Yeah, really cool event. Like they ran the track just, flip-flopped different directions for the different classes, which I think is really cool. It's hard to do that, I think, these days with just the way the tracks are built. But yeah, it was such an awesome race. We had crazy weather and 2-wheel drive. Practice was like in serious mud, like torrential downpour mud, like water everywhere on the track, and it was really cool.
Yeah, look at this triple. This track looked like it got like rough and loamy almost. Like old school.
No,
wow,
it didn't really get rough at all. It was smooth, like hard pack kind of surface. Yeah, it didn't get rough. Like none of the jumps got messed up. It just had some really cool sections. Yeah, 4-wheel drive. I would say it probably flowed better where we could do more of the jumps. Like you could jump that triple, and there was like another kind of jump on the track. Cool mogul section. 2-wheel drive, it was kind of like felt like we were driving the track backwards, but the track was still pretty cool, I thought, in 2-wheel. It was really technical.
Yeah, and you won your first World Tour. You won 4-wheel drive. What was going through your head when you won this race here?
Yeah, I mean, I almost won 2-wheel also. I got second, and 2-wheel was so close to winning. I just needed to win the last main, and but I came from like 7th or 8th on the grid, and yeah, 4-wheel was awesome. I came to the race totally under the radar, but put a lot of work in before. Felt really ready. That was a debut race for the new Associated 4-wheel. And yeah, I TQ'd, I don't know, I think we ran 6 rounds. I TQ'd 5 out of the 6. Would have TQ'd all 6, but I had a pinion come off in one of the qualifiers, and then yeah, led every lap of A1 and A2, and yeah, probably my best driving I've ever done in RC. I don't think a Marshall touched my car from practice 1 till A2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably my best drive ever that I've had.
Who won 2-wheel drive? Let's see. I should have it here. Hold on.
Japanese driver for hot bodies.
Hayato Matsusaki.
Matsukura.
Yeah.
Or not Matsukura. Yeah.
Matsusaki, it says her. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
He was running the Associated as well.
Yeah, he ran like a version of the Associated car. His dad, I think, worked for Hot Bodies, and so they had a couple different things on it. But yeah, I believe he might have DQ'd too.
Oh, really? So you said you put in a lot of preparation for this race. Was you more focused on the 8-scale, 10-scale gas or nitro world? What type of preparation and work was you putting in for this type of racing?
I mean, throughout my career, I never really focused more on one or the other. Before any Worlds, I just put a lot of preparation in. So this was a new car. And so like me, Cav, and Mayfield all went to California and did some testing at Pegasus, actually, which was like kind of the only tensile outdoor track we could drive on. And then I had a really good track in Novelty, Missouri, which was like an outdoor track. They raced 10 scale and 8 scale, so it was perfect. It was a little bit bigger for 10 scale, but it was outdoor. And yeah, I went there for a few days and just drove tons and tons of laps. And I had the spec tires, so there was a Panther tire.
Really?
And yep. Because Masami had some deal with Panther at that time. And so, yeah, it was Panther tires. And yeah, I just put a bunch of time in, just drove a whole bunch. And that was kind of always my preparation, was like not necessarily tons of testing, just because I didn't want to get like lost on my setup. So I would just do like a normal kind of base setting and something that I was comfortable with. And then I would just drive a lot, and drive like a lot, just so that I was really comfortable with my cars. So yeah, that's what I did.
Panther. Wow, we're bringing up some memories there. Panther. I wonder what two-wheel drive tire that was. That's a long time ago. I have a car, actually. Oh, yeah? Tell you. I have my car right here. Oh, wow.
Straight on. It's, they don't actually have a name. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but...
Oh, those look like the Ocelots or something like that. They were called.
And then the front kind of looks like a taper pen.
Yeah. Panther's still making tires, dude.
Yeah, I know. I see that every once in a while.
Apparently, they're where the real money comes from. They make all like the rubber reflective things you see in the road. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where like the mainstay of making money and all that type of stuff. All right, so congratulations, you get that monkey off your back. You win your first world championship. Almost win the two-wheel drive, which I would say. Would you say that the two-wheel drive is a slightly bit more coveted? In the 10 scale worlds?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I mean, there were certain times like, when only Losi and like Yokomo had 4-wheel drives, and, maybe it was a little more focused on 2-wheel drive, but I wouldn't say that,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, especially nowadays, 2-wheel and 4-wheel would be the exact same.
Okay. Yeah.
I would count that even like in 07. I mean, I was so stoked to win it, and that was the second class. So I feel like sometimes the second class feels more important. I mean, I don't know, not more important, but it's like it lasts better. Like if you win 2-wheel drive, or if you win the first one and then you have a bad event, the second one, it kind of like, your high gets cut pretty short.
Well, you're still a world champion. They can't take that from you. And a stacked field back when 10 scale was 10, like really, like that was 2007. That was right before I would say you were still using brushed motors and stuff at that time, right?
Yeah. It was, brushed motors, like nickel metal batteries and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was not like it was now. That's for sure, man. Today, people are spoiled. Red RC up now. This are considered to be by many one of the best worlds ever put on at Vasa in Finland. Another outdoor type of track, big jumps. Jorn Newman was really fast at this race too. Made some serious mistakes. Look at that? I mean, that looks video quality a lot better, by the way. Tell us a little bit about Vasa and what you remember from this race.
Oh yeah, I mean, my memory is just heartbreak there. I was so close to sweeping both classes. I ended up finishing third in both, which, if you don't know what happened, you would be like, oh, how do you think you're close to winning both if you finish third? But just such a good event. I would say that was, one of the best 10 scale worlds that I attended, as far as just the organization, just the club there, like how serious they kind of just take motorsports in that country. And the track was epic. The track was so much fun. Like, look at the spectators. Like, there were so many people there watching.
Is that you in third right there? I can't tell. No.
Yeah. I finished second in A1 and A2, less than half a second behind Cavallari in both those mains.
So
I led in all three mains in four wheel. Like, I think the second four wheel, I really felt like I should have won. I got a stop and go penalty or drive through penalty for hitting Lee Martin when he kind of made a mistake in front of me and I didn't have anywhere to go and hit him. And that kind of took my chances away. But actually the camera cut out there, but you do like that mogul section, that pitcher's mound, and you do that little angled jump. And I think I crashed there in A1 and A2 while leading. Jorn really should have won. He was leading A1 and A2. Yeah, see right there.
Oh, wow.
I did that in both mains, which kind of ruined my race. But even right there, like me and Cavallari tangled. So me and him kind of went through the pack together. That was just, nowadays they build tracks so easy to where the racing's so lame. Like you can see in that race.
Lead changes. Yeah,
lead changes. Like when you make tracks so easy that no one crashes, the racing's terrible. And, a lot of people build tracks now like, oh, if you want good racing, you have to see right there. I had my stop and go.
Okay. I wonder what happened.
That kind of really cost me because I was in second and then Jorn's car stopped. So, but anyways, back what I was saying, they make the track so easy now in 10 scale and 8 scale, in my opinion, to where there's no crashing, so there's no passing. And you have to make the tracks tough where there's opportunity to crash because that's how passes are made. And it just puts more pressure on you, if the section's really hard and, you have all that pressure and, who can kind of handle it better, I think is really cool. But yeah, that race was awesome. Then in two wheel, I won the first main super easy and just really thought I was just going to win the second main and be done. And second main, I had some crashes and finished maybe fourth. And then the third main, I just had an unfortunate tangle with another car early on and broke and ended up breaking. So I got third with like a first and a fourth or something like that.
There's Jorn. He's out.
Yep. So then that battle there, us three turned into the battle for the lead.
One thing I like about this track is the concrete curbing. I know it affected you right there, but coming through that chicane, like you see the cars going up on the concrete curbing, it looks, I think this is something very overlooked in tracks in 8 scale. It's good to see it. We don't see this much anymore, man. I love concrete curbing on these. I mean, look at you guys. Look at this when you come through there. Like, it's like you see guys hitting it like Formula One, Love it.
Yeah. Oh, the track was so epic. Yeah. This is towards the end. Like, this might be the last lap. Like, Cav messed up. And I literally finished right behind him in both mains. And,
oh man.
Yeah.
Big send it triples. This really was a good track.
That was such a good track. Yeah. I got mixed reviews on tracks in the US and I love curbing. Like, when you have tracks with piping, you can't even like race,
Yeah, because you might get caught up in the pipe, right?
Yeah. When you get stuck in a pipe, it's kind of silly in my opinion.
I agree with you. Even if they just put like a eye especially the pipes when they bend that pipe and it's like that, like that thin pipe and they bend it like that.
If you kind of brush it, sometimes it'll suck you in and you just get turned and you get stuck on it for like brushing the pipe. But
yeah,
in so many motorsports, like you ride the curb, you go over the curb, like that's how you drive the track differently and do different apexes. And so you have to just cut it so close to the pipes, and if you touch it, you're kind of ruined. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think that comes from, especially in the USA, because the track changes so much, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants a new track layout and whatnot. But I love the concrete carbon. I agree with you 100%. It just makes for better racing. You can go for that inside line a little bit more, shoot that gap. You can use that carbon to your advantage, but it can also, like we saw there, it can also come up and bite you, which it did for you in those first couple of laps as well. So definitely, we need to get more concrete curbing at tracks. That's something we need going on. Hopefully, people pay attention. Oh, all right. So a little bit disappointment. I think that was Cavallari's. That was his third and fourth World Championships. I think. Let's see.
Third and fourth. Yeah, third and fourth.
So that was his third and fourth. That's like when I would say that was when he was at his peak, right? In 10 scale, he was pudge. He was doing all that. He was flying. That pudge lock saying was going on. He was a little chunkier. And he was on top of the world when it came to 10 scale racing as well, which also kind of led to he also had very good form in 8 scale as well going forward from there. Had a string of good wins in America, Neo wins, stuff like that as well. All right. So coming up to your 2-wheel drive here, Chico, also considered to be one of the best world championships that we've seen. Tell us a little bit about this going into this race, into Chico. I know you said it rained a little bit, but another awesome off-road track.
That was an interesting Worlds because that was the first Worlds where we had mid-motor cars.
Really?
I kind of pulled a sneaky move at the Cactus Classic, and I had 2 cars, and I did like all my practice with my rear motor car, but I had plans to race my mid motor. And so like my very last practice, I just threw my mid motor down and then qualified and raced with mid motor and won the Cactus Classic, which I think I broke like a 20-year win streak for Associated or something like that in 2-wheel drive.
Really?
And so then that kind of everybody decided, because I think just there was only like 3 of us maybe in the main that had mid-motor cars at the Cactus. So then everyone started running mid-motor cars, and we did the nationals at Chico, and it actually went really bad for me. I got 10th. Really struggled at the World's warm-up. I struggled in 2-wheel. I just couldn't get comfortable with my car. So, kind of like I said, I take, a lot of pride in my World's preparation. So I ended up going to NorCal Hobbies for like an AKA race, which the same track builder built the tracks there, and it was sugared. And so I did some testing, and I found that I liked running a different front tire. So 2-wheel drive's all open front tire, and they were Proline rears. Most people just ran the Proline front. I ran the AKA ribbed front, and it just gave me like more confident feel. So I kind of kept that secret, knew I had that kind of, in my bag of tricks, I would say. And I went to that same novelty track in Missouri to do my testing, and they actually let me sugar it.
I remember you telling this story.
I bought like 500 or 800 pounds of sugar at Sam's Club, which they thought I was crazy. And I went there and like sugared the track and practiced for a couple days. And I went there super confident and practiced all of the practices with the Proline front. And then for the last practice, I threw the AKA fronts on and went really fast and just felt more comfortable. And I kind of chose to do that so that everyone else would be scared to try it, because they'd have to do it for a qualifier. So it's kind of sneaky and, kind of cool to, have some strategy like that.
He's playing mind games with people.
Yeah. I mean, there's strategy in racing, and I do a lot of preparation behind the scenes, and so it's cool when you can kind of do something like that and it works out. And then I think I TQ'd like 2 out of the 3 rounds, and then it ended up raining, so they canceled 2 rounds, I believe. And then we weren't really sure what was going to happen for the mains. Like, it was like crazy rain. Like there was lakes on the track. So they pumped the track, they got all the water off, and then they started sugaring it when it was still wet. And then they rented these huge blowtorches. So they like burnt the whole track, and it turned into like almost asphalt. It was so hard.
Really?
And then they only ran the A main, so they didn't run any lower mains for two-wheel drive. And so, like, we waited all day to run, and then we were going to have 2 practices and then run the 3 mains, and the track was way different feeling. So we ran the first practice, and it was crazy high grip. Like, I remember crashing 100 times, just traction rolling, flipping everywhere. I was like, man, this is a disaster. Like, I need to, like, calm down, like, reel my emotions back in. So then we were going up the driver's stand for practice number 2. And as we were going up the stand, they announced over the PA that this was actually going to be A main number 1, that there was weather coming that night, and they weren't sure if we were going to get all the mains in. So they decided that it was going to be A1. So that was really, really stressful. And this is A1, the video. Mm-hmm. And, I wasn't the fastest guy, but I felt like I drove the race the smartest and was able to, like, handle my emotions. And, my car wasn't the best. And the track was just super hard to drive. And, like, if you pushed over the limit, you could crash. And, starting first, you kind of have everything to lose. And, I was really proud of that. Just both those mains. Like, I got caught and got reeled in A1 and A2 and just, like, just barely kept it together. Like, I drove really close to the edge, and, like, you can see I almost landed on that pipe a couple times, and drove defensive lines to where I knew I couldn't get past, and, just didn't make any mistakes. And, that's Neil Cragg, and he reeled me in and almost got me. I think this is maybe the last lap. Last corner, he kind of bumped me. And then A2 was similar with Mayfield. And I think A2 I actually lose the lead. I like traction roll one corner, Cav passes me.
He does. I was watching it last night.
Then he crashes again, like, right away, and I take the lead. And awesome. And that race was really cool for Kyosho because Chikuba was the engineer, and he was such an awesome guy. I really enjoyed working with him, and just a really nice, open engineer, and was just open to my feedback. And he took over the lead engineer design work after 1987, which was the last time Kyosho won a 10-scale Worlds. Maybe it was their 2-wheel drive. I think it was their last 10-scale Worlds that they won. And then, he went from 87 all the way till 2013 with never winning a world championship with the car he designed.
Oh, really?
And then, and then he designed that car, and I was able to win for them, which was really special for me. So that was pretty cool.
So that's awesome. So if you guys want to check this out, it's on Red RC. They have the best videos. I did watch A2. Mayfield did an amazing job coming through the pack, and he did almost get you there at the very line. And something that reiterated to me was the what amount of preparation that you put in to win this race, going to a track, buying your own sugar, doing all that testing, trying different tires. You knew that would work. We don't really see that anymore because A lot's changed over the last 10 years. There's a lot more races going on. These guys are their schedules.
People don't talk about it either. Like, I wasn't advertising that I was going to the track. I think people are still doing that. It's just, people aren't advertising it. Even in social media, like the next Worlds, the one that was on turf, that was probably the most preparation I ever did for a race.
Really?
And I had social media and stuff, but I wasn't posting that. I was doing 50 battery packs a week, and actually more than that. Probably, I was probably doing like 80 battery packs a week for about a month leading up to that race.
Where did you practice for that?
There was a carpet track that was down in Bolivar, Missouri, and I reached out to them, and they actually gave me a key to the building. So I would go there twice a week, and I had a friend that would help me go marshal for me and stuff, and like we would change the track layout, move the jumps and stuff around so that I could practice on different tracks. And I got Kyosho bought me a bunch of tires. So I had the spec tires and stuff. And I would run about 20 battery packs per class per day. And I was going twice a week for a month.
You know what, Tebo? I don't think people are doing all that nowadays. I mean, you may know better than me, but I think with these guys' schedule that they have of so many races, even it's a big difference 7 years ago.
People probably aren't doing that. Like, that's pretty extreme. But, like someone like Bruno, he would be a good person to talk to about preparation because, like, he does the Worlds in so many different classes, and, like, he always does his preparation a couple weeks before, where I bet you would be surprised how many battery packs and stuff he runs before Worlds.
Yeah, I would. I could see that because he also runs so many different disciplines, right? So, yeah.
And that's what, like, I would just commit, like, the month before. It wasn't like I was doing that all the time. I would do that with 8 scale too. Like, I would normally only drive those classes for the month leading up. So maybe nowadays it's a little harder to do, but that was just kind of, what I did at certain times.
All right. But that's what it takes, right? I mean, that paid off for you. You got a second in 2-wheel drive at Yatabe. We're going to put that up in a minute, but I wanted to touch on this because this is Stephen Hartson, who probably will go down as one of the lesser known American world champions we've had because this was a great race that he won. I think he was battling with Nayato to win this, I think in A3. And he won this. And unfortunately, like a couple years later after this, I think he just kind of got out of RC. There's this car right there, that white and maroon looking car right there. Is that Tessman behind him?
Yeah, that's Tessman. I think Tessman, I don't remember who TQ'd, but like all front runners just crashed a bunch. Yeah, Hartson won from 8th, and I think Nayato got second from 9th on the grid. And that was just a thing where, on the high grip, 4-wheel's so much harder to drive than 2-wheel, especially then. Like, the cars just weren't very good on the sugar. So, it just came down to, like, it was really difficult to drive under pressure. You can see Tessman going on 2 wheels everywhere, wheeling in and stuff. And that was just something where Hartson literally had nothing to lose. And he was a really skilled driver. It just seemed like he could never really put it together. And that year, he put it together. And, that's... there's definitely, in 10 scale, I would say, Hartson's probably the most, maybe unknown world champion. But 8 scale, it happened a lot.
Yeah.
Where people that never won any other real races won. I mean, it happened a lot in 8 scale.
Yeah, if you look back at some of the winners, like Guillermin Ray and who won 2004.
Yuichi Kanai, he never really like won other races, never really battled in any other ones. Guillermin Vray for sure. Never really battled in other ones.
The guys that almost won them are still more famous, like a Yannick Aiguan and stuff.
You know, he won a couple races, but it wasn't like Degani was winning a bunch of races.
Right.
And then won worlds. And, you know, even Cody, I mean, he was a good driver, Cody King, but he never won another race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he only won one race in his whole racing career, and it just so happened to be a worlds.
Yeah. All right. So, but that's so true. You go look at the list of world champions in 8 scale. It's so varied, right? The guys that stand out to me are guys like Tasman, Pavidis, who was, you know, world champion in multiple classes, Hara, of course, Davide, Davide first back to back. And of course, Ronnefalk as well, who's won European championships and stuff like that. But if you go back, like Guillermin Vray, like, and he was not the favorite. Like, it was Yannick Aiguan and Jeremy Quartz and guys like you who were the hot guys at that time. And like, who's Guillermin Vray? Like, he won this, like some guy from France. But that's racing, right? That's probably why I still believe it would be great to have a World Series championship to crown a champion, to eliminate that type of stuff. But, that's a conversation for another. That's a rant for another day. So 2015 at Yatabe Arena. Now, this was a very interesting track because everybody thought it was going to be, because this used to be a dirt track. I believe it was a dirt track that had Astro on top of it. So it was very similar.
This was where their carpet track was.
Okay.
On-road track. Yeah, this never had dirt on it.
Okay, so people thought that it was going to, might have been confused because I was still kind of just coming back into RC at this time. But was it that people thought that it was?
We all knew what it was going to be. It was just the first Worlds on something other than dirt. And like, you know, in the U.S. at that time, there was like no carpet racing whatsoever. So, you know, none of us had raced on anything other than dirt in the U.S., you know.
Well, this is AstroTurf though, right? Correct? Or was
After what?
This is Astro?
Yeah, this is Astro. Yeah, not carpet. That's Astro.
Right. So this is
way different feeling than carpet.
Yeah, can you explain that a little bit to people who may not know the difference who through Astro and the
I don't have a bunch of experience on either one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've only raced on AstroTurf one time, and I've never actually done a big race on carpet. But just from kind of my testing and stuff, the turf is thicker, so you like. It's not that you slide, but it's. I don't know. It has like a sandy feel almost, to where like your car wiggles around and moves some, but it has a lot of traction at the same time, and it grooves in. So like the track layout, it folds over. So if you got offline, then it was like your car really bogged down and you would just crash. It was all stood up, you know.
Got you. I got what you mean. It's like going out into the loam, like thick loam.
I love that. I love that race. That track, the race was so fun. Like, I put so much work in, kind of designed like my own car with some help of, actually some guys at Red RC, which I can't say I designed my own car. That's kind of false. But they had a layout designed to run like 2-wheel drive front end, 4-wheel drive rear end, and it was a super cool design that I really wanted to run because I didn't feel like the Kyosho 2-wheel just didn't quite have some of the options that the associated 2-wheel had. So I thought that was my best opportunity. And yeah, my car was so good. And yeah, it was a bummer. I'm still like so bummed I didn't win that one. It's crazy. You look back, like I TQ'd, and I think I TQ'd every round of qualifying. And then I won the first main, and then just a couple little bobbles. Like in A2, I was leading and thought I was going to win no problem. And like I caught a dot and wheelied and like flew off the track. And then in A3, kind of same thing, was leading, was like really felt in control. You know, Rivkin was really challenging me, but I felt like I had it in control, and I crashed off that tabletop jump right there.
Oh, wow.
And
unfortunate.
So yeah, and yeah, it's crazy to like look back at races, and you know, I'm super grateful to win 2 world championships, but if just a couple things would have fallen a little bit different, you know, I feel like I could have 5 or 6 world championships pretty easily.
Do you remember them vividly? Can you recall these races?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some of them, you know, yeah, you definitely have some sleepless nights. You know, this one, I wouldn't say I had a bunch of sleepless nights afterwards. I still really wished that I won, but, you know, the one Worlds that comes back to haunt me is definitely 2010 and 8 scale. I didn't sleep for 4 days after that Worlds.
Really?
Which is kind of crazy.
That was in Thailand. That was, yeah, that's the one that Cody King won.
Legit 4 days. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and yeah, like I couldn't sleep, and I stayed up for 4 straight days, and then we had our daughter, and I was so just delusional and tired and crazy. It was nuts. But
I guess that's the passion that's needed, right? To do these type of things. So when people
we're not just out there racing toy cars, you know, like we put everything into it, you know.
Yeah, especially when I think a lot of people, when you're at your level, this is your job, this is your livelihood as well, right? And you want to perform at a high level. And I want to reiterate,
it's like the money, you know, it's past like the job or the money. Like you have to commit everything to try to win it, and I would say, the people that are actually fighting for the wins and putting the effort in are so emotionally connected to it. You know, that's the hard part.
It's no different from any other athlete in any other sport, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why I use soccer references like Ronaldo and Messi, and these guys are the best in the world. You guys are the best in the world at what you do. The amount of dedication and passion needed to be at that level is the same amount of passion, dedication, and sacrifice that those guys do to be the best in their genre of sport. I would say the only thing that they do is it's physical. So they have to put in a lot of physical work and whatnot like that. With you guys, it's the mental game. Yes, physical, where you have to be able to have your hands and all eyes and all that stuff working good too. But a lot of mental games that you have to, fortitude that you have to be there and sacrifice and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. And also I want to reiterate that at this time, I know right now carpet and Astro, maybe not Astro so much, is a growing in America. But at this time, I remember everybody was upset that it was going to be on carpet or Astro, and people, you know, were talking about it, because the over in Europe, this is kind of normal. Astro carpet racing. So it was normal for them.
I mean, that's a funny thing with RC. I mean, people inside the actual industry that are actually doing the races weren't upset about it. I mean, I was all up for the challenge. I thought it was awesome. I think all the drivers were up for the challenge and thought it was really cool, you know?
Well, it worked out almost for you. But this also shuffled in the era of Spencer Rifkin, 15 years old. Kind of was his debut. Also, Coelho, I think, was kind of introduced to the off-road world as well at this race. And it's funny that we'd see them 4 years later do the exact same thing, with Rifkin finishing first in two-wheel drive and Coelho winning four-wheel drive. But also I would say this is, if we look at Chico with the mid-motor cars and all that type of stuff, I would say this is probably the last time that we ever going to see a world's outdoor for 10 scale. I mean, I'm pretty sure it can happen again. That's where you made that mistake right there, I think. Yeah, that's where Rifkin got by you. But
I was hitting a jump on the brakes, and that's kind of been a downfall of mine just at certain times. And I hit the jump too much on my brakes. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of makes you jump nose high. Yeah, that was such a bummer.
Unfortunate. But we saw this.
I haven't watched that movie in probably 5 years.
Oh, wow. No. Am I jogging memories? Oh, no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's not that fun to watch.
Oh, let's get it off there then. All right. So we also see the change in the shift, right? We saw Chico was outdoors, high grip. The mid-motor cars just started to make their way into it. Obviously Kyosho had one. But now at this race, it's like B5Ms. Everything's mid-motor. There's no more rear motor cars. I think everybody's running. Might have been some people running rear motor. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. But this is when we see that shift, I would say, in that time period where 10 scale shifts from being an outdoor type of event to all indoors, And now, I mean, it's very hard pressed to find 10 scale outdoors nowadays. Yes, there's some regional areas that do it. We see two different types of cars now, dirt and carpet. I'm not, because then we went right to China, right? And it was outdoors. And it was like on an 8 scale track, a huge track. Let's bring that up so people can say, I know I wasn't going to go through all of these, but there's some people out there that may not even know all this stuff, right? So I always like to talk about this, and so people can see it. So we got to 2000.
The China World track was awesome too.
Did you? So tell us a little bit about China and that track.
What was that?
Tell us a little bit about the race in China.
Yeah, that was an awesome track, I thought. Kind of crazy tires. Mm-hmm. We really weren't sure if it was going to be loose or not. Just based off the tire choice. And the track had a lot of traction. It wasn't loose at all. Track was huge. Jumps were built super bad. So that was the hardest part, was just the jumps were terrible.
And you had weather too, right? As well?
I don't remember there being weather, but it was an awesome race. Man, I thought I was going to be able to win 2-wheel drive. I knew 4-wheel was going to be a struggle. Our 4-wheel wasn't that good at that time. And, but yeah, I screwed up in qualifying. I had a chance to I just kept screwing up. And then, like I just saw, I think I qualified 8th and I tied to finish 3rd, which was going to be cool because I love 2-wheel drive. 2-wheel drive was my favorite class, over 8 scale. 2-wheel drive, 10 scale has always been my favorite class to drive. And I finished on the podium from 2007 all the way until this one in 2017. So I had a 10-year run of finishing on the podium in 2-wheel drive, which I thought was cool. And then I was so close. I tied for 3rd, but ended up finishing 4th to Lee Martin. But, the track was so awesome. And, the whole event was good. I thought they did a good job. And, I really enjoyed it. Mayfield just drove really well. It was weird because Mayfield's always been a risky driver. And then at this race, he just kind of committed to not taking risks. He kind of committed to not doing one of those doubles, the middle one. And most people were jumping all of them. And the one guy that just stuck to not doing it from the beginning ended up winning. And you can see it is a little loose, we're sliding around. But it wasn't, what I meant was it wasn't loose dirt. Mm-hmm. It was packed down dirt. And so, we all still ran lay down transmissions. When mid-motor came out, we had stand-up mid-motor transmissions. And then we ended up going to lay down. And
this is a huge track.
That's kind of how the cars are now.
This is a big track. But
huge track. And the pipes were so not forgiving. So we were kind of talking about, if that track had curbing and stuff, it would have been so cool. But
Mayfield,
there was that double there that a lot of people weren't jumping. Some people were. You could kind of see it there. Cav didn't jump it. Lee Martin did jump it. So that track was awesome. It was super fun. Really challenging track.
And Mayfield finally gets his world championship, right? Been trying to get it for a long time. He finally gets it here. You ended up 4th and then 16th in he was in the B for a 4-wheel drive. And then I think, was it this year that you, or was it the following year that you go out and you win Reedy, right? Yeah, it was 28.
It was 2019. I won the Reedy race.
Okay. But so you got out there, this was the first race you haven't, like in the B main for 4-wheel drive. Are you starting to think, all right, are you at this point starting to think maybe I'm going to kind of back down from 10 scale a little bit and focus more? And
no,
okay.
I never had plans to not race 10 scale.
Okay. All right.
That was never in my plans at all.
Okay.
Even like when I signed on with Techno, it was like I tried making it very clear that I'm racing 10 scale, and that was the plan. And like we won Reedy race. I went to all the races, went to the Worlds. And then in 2020, it was the same plan, was like, I'm going to do all the 10 scale races. But then we did the Reedy race, and I actually was like in the hunt to win again. And then just my 2-wheel drive side didn't go that well. And then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And basically all the 8-scale races opened up first.
Mm.
And then that was when Techno basically was like, you have to just go to all the 8-scale races. So then I wasn't going to 10 scale. And then, Techno decided not to make a 2-wheel. And then they kind of pulled the plug on me of paying for my travel to go. And their 4-wheel wasn't very good either. And they needed a lot of work on their 4-wheel. And me and kind of the design crew didn't agree on what they needed to do with 4-wheel. And so we were just it just didn't make any sense to race 10 scale anymore. And then, and then into this year, obviously with like Mayako and stuff, they don't make 10 scale. So it was never in my plan to not race 10 scale. I love 10 scale.
Okay. All right.
It just kind of happened. It was never planned.
Okay, I wasn't too sure about this. And then because we talked about it, this was the 2019 10 scale Worlds in Slovakia at the X-Ray Arena, which Bruno Coelho he won in 4-wheel drive, and Ongaro and Rivkin had a great battle in 2-wheel drive, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
That was another really good Worlds. I have to give the X-Ray guys and Uri a lot of credit. Like, they took a lot of flack, and
they did.
I would say X-Ray, some of the flack they do take, I'll say is justified a little bit, but they took so much flack for this race, and like they did such an amazing job. The facility was really awesome. They were really like welcoming to everybody, and they did an excellent job at that Worlds. The track was really cool. I thought the track was super fun to drive. Maybe Bruno had an advantage, but I mean, I don't know. The amount of practice we get there, and the tough thing of like when you practice out of facility like that, and then the Worlds, it's always a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I don't know. I love that Worlds. It was awesome. I wish I would have did better. I think I could have podiumed 2-wheel had I stuck to my game plan, and I kind of got off my game plan, followed Rivkin a little bit, and ended up just kind of losing out. And like, I think I needed to TQ the last round of qualifying to make the main.
Mm-hmm.
And I got second or something like that, like barely, like I almost TQ'd, and I ended up BQ. And in the B, I think I had the second or third fastest A main time. And so I definitely, I wish I could take that event back. 4-wheel was just kind of a struggle. Like, our car just never turned. The Techno car never turned. We always had too much caster, and they 3D printed me some caster blocks that had less caster, but they were super fragile and I kept breaking them. So that was kind of my problem. I ended up having to run the stock caster blocks kind of in racing and just had no steering.
Unfortunate. Great banquet too after. I remember looking at the pictures.
The whole event was literally epic. The place is so beautiful. They had like good food there. They offered shop tours, which I did, and I thought it was incredible. They set up like a really cool castle tour, which I also did.
Nice.
And I thought they did an excellent job. Yeah, I hope that people, told them how good of a job they did. I know I told them. Yeah, they should be really proud of that Worlds.
It looked good. It looked good on Facebook. Bucket list. I love to get her one day to a race and check it out. So, obviously, due to COVID and nothing going on, we're now, I guess this is 2019, so we're scheduled to have a 2021 Worlds. That didn't happen. Yeah. So now we're on 2013. It's back in America. It's at Hobby Action. There's a lot of hype about it. My European friends have been asking about so much stuff. Is it going to be sauce? Is it going to be slicks? All this stuff. Obviously, it's going to be AKA clay slicks. A surface that these European drivers have not driven on quite often. It's also a surface that I would say that is starting to go the way of the dinosaur. It's starting to get less. You're starting to see less and less dirt tracks now. Carpet is definitely taking over, which I don't think it's a bad thing. I think carpet is definitely a future thing for RC semi-permanent tracks. Give us a little bit of thoughts on probably who you think will be good at this race. Who do you think any Europeans will be able to be in contention with this being such a different surface as well?
Yeah, I mean, as far as who I think is going to win, I think you have to say Rivkin is, the favorite going in. Like, that's his home track. He was there a lot. He did good at the Desert Classic, at the World's Warm-Up. Which I thought was really strange that Finn wasn't at the World's Warm-Up. So you have to put Finn as a favorite. It's crazy to think like how many races he's won and he doesn't have a World Championship. But kind of like how Mayfield was, like that puts an added pressure too. And Finn is kind of like in a weird place right now where like he's not as dominant as he was, say, a year ago. But he can still win. Like he has still been winning some races, but it's kind of like been mixed a little bit. So that's, it's kind of hard to say. And then, for me personally, I think Aiden Horn is going to be
really
in the front to win. At the World's Warm-Up, I would say Aiden was the fastest driver in both classes. I think if he was a little mentally stronger, he could have easily won both, like especially four-wheel, I think. And then, Brock, I think, has a chance. He's doing really good. It feels like on dirt, he's kind of got the Schumacher cars where he's more comfortable now. I think for the Europeans, it's going to be really difficult.
Me too.
Orlowski's a great driver. He's doing a bunch of different disciplines, which I think is actually good. You learn a lot of different skills. I'll say just from me racing 1/8 scale, I thought it would make me a better 1/8 scale driver, and I don't think it has at all. I think racing multiple, I would say my driving is worse now just racing 8 scale versus racing, both. So I think even him doing touring car and stuff like that is a good thing. Bruno's a good driver, but it seems like the X-ray cars aren't working very well on that condition. And it's weird. It's not your typical, like, to say that Americans have an advantage because it's on slicks, I think isn't accurate either, because when we race on slicks in the U.S., we saw some. The track has a bunch of grip. I would say the advantage for the Americans is they've raced at that track, which it's an amazing facility, but the dirt is terrible.
Okay.
probably my least favorite track I've ever raced at would be Hobby Action. No disrespect at all to them, just the way that it feels, facility wise, like all the guys there, they're awesome, and they've done their best that they can. It's just the dirt is just not that good.
I've heard that before.
It just has a really weird feel. Even when we were saucing, like, it would be the highest grip and the lowest grip that you've ever felt before, and it would be combined, and it would literally be in the same corner. Like, you weren't sure if your car was going to flip off the track or spin out.
Interesting.
It's just a really odd feel. So I think the flipping over is gone now without, when you're not saucing. But the cars are definitely looser, and it just feels weird. And I think, in Europe, like on turf and on carpet and even their dirt tracks, like the grip is more consistent.
Okay.
And that's just the thing. I think this year the grip is super consistent with the slicks and just on that track and with no sauce. So it's going to be interesting as far as like, are new tires good? Do you run older tires? And just like that whole game plan and how drivers strategically handle their tires and stuff like that will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see two drivers at this track, Ongaro and Chase Lemieux.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was going.
Yeah, Chase Lemieux, Paul Lemieux's son, who was really good at the warm-up. And he was good at the Nationals here recently. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does as well. As a young gun, a dark horse. And I too kind of think
it's the grip. I think the grip with the X-ray cars is just going to be a challenge there. Okay. But hopefully they have it. Hopefully they can, they made some changes or something and have something for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, as now kind of a retired from 10 scale and whatnot, what do you think about the carpet racing coming into America and whatnot? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think that's a way to grow our hobby, our sport side of things, having more maybe semi-permanent tracks like how they have it over in Europe? You see a lot of these dirt tracks closing now. It's a lot of upkeep, right? It's a lot of upkeep. You need a lot of racers to do it. What are your thoughts on 10 scale and carpet racing in America at this moment?
If I was going to open an indoor track, if I was going to open an RC track in general, it would be indoor carpet for sure, like 100%. So I think it's great. I think still in the U.S., the tracks haven't done a good a job as they could. Dirt indoor, there's a whole bunch of negatives. Like negative number one is, I think leasing the building is difficult. You have mold, you're going to ruin the building. So I think that's just like hurdle number one. Hurdle number two is it smells terrible. You have tire sauce. There's no way around tire sauce.
Right.
Indoor dirt, no way around tire sauce. So right there is a big red flag for families, for newcomers, for spectators, like all of that you kind of hurt. Like my indoor track, local indoor track, it's just like, it's so dirty and nasty and moldy in there. And, like people get sick and it's
that's not healthy.
It's just not like a fun environment. Like, so on that side, carpet is just cleaner. It's so much more inviting. And you can change the track so easily. Like, I think carpet tracks need to change some things, like to bring mod back. Like me, I think stock is stupid.
I know you're not a Pink Pinion fan. I like it now.
The way that, but it's way too fast. Like you got to get rid of 13.5. You got to get rid of 17.5. Make 21.5 stock and have it be slow. Like stock is so fast now that there's no reason to run mod. And in my opinion, that's just such a bummer because mod is so much more work. And it used to be stock was so slow that it wasn't that fun. So once you learned how to drive and you wanted to have more fun driving, you moved to mod, and then you learned how to use your throttle, how to use your brakes, how to set up your car. Like in stock, setup is completely worthless. It doesn't matter. And they don't have any throttle control. Like you just stab the throttle. You don't really have to use the brakes. Like you learn so many bad driving habits racing stock for so long that it just, in my opinion, it just hurts everybody involved. And the cost is super high. So, I think 10-skill racing is dying some just for that fact that mod racing is completely gone. Like you can't club race really anywhere and club race mod, which blows my mind. Stock racing is so expensive to compete, which deters people. Like I will never go club race stock ever. And, so I have no desire to even have a 10-scale car because I can't even go to my local track and race mod. And I think, too, like if you want to do mod and you want to do that, say if you have a carpet track, you have mod night and you just move the jumps. And you make it so that stock can't do the jumps. And, that's like an incentive. But you can change the track so easily, and you can do so many cool things with like, quarter pipes and just over-unders and bridges, and just like you can do so many cool things with the carpet track that I think still in the U.S. we aren't utilizing. You see some tracks in Europe and you're like, whoa, that track looks like it's a video game. And it looks awesome. And then you see some carpet tracks in the U.S. where there's no jumps and there's no like creativity. And, so I think there's still a lot of room for improvement there. I don't know, like I am not going to a bunch of carpet tracks. In the future, I would love to race 10-skill again. And I would love to, kind of jump back in and race more carpet. Like I've never done a big carpet race ever. So I think that would be something fun. I love 110 scale still. I don't love driving it how its current condition is. Even on dirt, like the traction got so high and we figured out how to run the ride height so high and how to be able to get so much corner speed. But the cars jumped really bad, and to be honest, they're not that fun to drive because you're just hanging on for dear life, but you can go crazy fast. So, I think two-wheel or just 10-scale has just gone in a weird direction to where it's just they're not fun, and it's not super like inviting to new people. I'll jump back and say dirt indoor tracks. It's so complicated. You see a good guy at a dirt indoor track and he looks like he's driving on Velcro. And then you get some guy that goes to the hobby shop, doesn't really know, buys a car, buys brand new tires, maybe even their slicks or whatever, but doesn't know what to do. And he goes out there and he's doing donuts. And he's like, man, this isn't any fun. And it's so much effort to have really good grip on indoor dirt that it's just discouraging to people.
Oh, I would agree. I agree with you 100%. Carpet.
You have to have a mentality of like really putting a lot of effort into being able to learn a new hobby, which some people are into that, and some people are just gonna go buy a jet ski and go to the lake on Saturday.
I agree with you. We're not even touched on the whole sanding on brand new tires to have ghost pins and all that stuff. And also, I think what you're going to see is the semi-permanent tracks, like we see in a school hall, set it up there, leave the stuff there. That is really club racing. In my opinion, that is what's going to help grow our hobby, that type of stuff. And, I 100% agree with you on the dirt thing. I know there's a lot of dirt purists out there and they love it. And trust me, I'm going to Masters of Dirt here next month and I'll enjoy that. But I will also enjoy carpet championship. And as a racer, I would.
Dirt's cool, but it's like tire companies aren't making tires that can run on real dirt. The cars aren't designed to run on like an outdoor dirt track. So it's.
I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Would I go back to 2011 and run a rear motor 2-wheel? I would do that in a heartbeat, and I think RC would be way better. 1/10 scale RC would be in a much better place if we had 2011 cars today
and tracks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I thank you for your time. I wanted to ask you one more question before we left, and this is non-10 scale. It was good to go over and get some of your memories from your past world. So I do appreciate that. You recently went up to the HRCR race facility. Beautiful facility. The Iders have put a lot of money into that. Beautiful track. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on that race real quick. I wanted to show them some love because you was fast. You TQ'd. Little bump got you in the main. But good facility, great facility. Tell us a little bit about your trip up there.
Oh, it was awesome, man. Brian's a cool guy, and he's definitely has the passion for RC right now, and I really hope it stays. We've had a couple people pop in and out of the industry that have passion and have finances to be able to do something like that, and it's really cool to see. Like, the Pacific Northwest is an awesome place. They have racers, and I think, anytime a place like that can pop up, it's only good for the industry. And the track was really, really cool. The race was awesome, had a good amount of people. I did a driving clinic, which was awesome. Really happy to do that again. And we had 26 people sign up, and most of them, said they had one of their best ever race weekends. So that was really encouraging and really fun. And my family got to go, which was really special. Was special for me, and just to get to have them at the track. And yeah, it was funny because my kids were really rooting on Fee. They got to play with him some, and
really,
and they thought he was cool. And Cole was like, "Oh, Fee beat you! That was awesome!" So they were totally cheering him on. Which was fun. And, I'm at a stage where I don't, winning that race or losing isn't going to change my life at all.
Yeah, what did you say at the Nationals? I don't need it on National. I have 17 of them.
Yeah. And, obviously I want to win.
Yes.
But it was fun. Like, we had a really good race, really clean race. Fee, he's obviously young, and he used to be pretty aggressive, and, I personally love that family. I help Fee. He's a JTP sponsored driver. We talk, me and his dad talk, and, I try to help them when I can and give them advice and stuff. And so, it was cool to just battle with them. And he put 2 epic passes on me, and, he passed me in the same spot both times. And, he definitely had more speed in the main. I was happy. I drove better than him. I thought I drove a really good main, but just didn't have the overall speed that I needed to win. And that's kind of irrelevant, but it was a really fun event. Everyone seemed happy. RC right now, like with social media, people want to share their opinions, and people have so many opinions on so many different things, and it's a bummer, just the negativity that goes around sometimes. But that race I thought was super positive. I didn't hear one bad thing about the race.
That's good.
It was awesome. Yeah. I hope to make it back up there next year.
Yeah, the Pacific Northwest is a great region of racing, right? I've been following it for a few years. They have a championship tour. Obviously, Justin Wildy's doing his thing up there at the WARC series as well. And that facility is absolutely beautiful. The Iders have put in a lot of money, a lot of time, the ONROAD track, in the shop, all that type of stuff. And they have been racing. I mean, right after that, they're down to Mexico racing, so it's like.
Oh, that race looked awesome.
It did, didn't it? Didn't it? Oh.
And I want to go next year. So
that looks like a track you'll like too. That old school.
that's the kind of stuff like I want to do in the future is like do different races like that, you know, even like international races, like stuff that I haven't ever been able to go do. Like I would love to go to a Mexican national. That would be epic.
It looked like a party, and that old school.
The track looks so sick. I actually raced in Mexico once. Joey did a race in Mexico, and it was completely different circumstances. It was like at this resort. He must have been like a drug lord or something. But the track was literally sand. Like we were raking the track smooth with like the plastic
rakes,
like golf rakes.
No way.
Know? So when I watched that track, it brought back memories of that race. And dude, that track looks so awesome.
Yeah.
If they have a race at that track again next year, if one of you guys from Ensenada is watching, I want to go.
I want to go too. It looked like a party.
I want to go next year.
It looked like a party. And I hope that I know Brian wants to go to nationals, and I hope that he gets it. And I know he wants to, if the Worlds are going to be in America in 25, I think it is. I hope he gets it because his facility is beautiful. It's a lot of work, a lot of passion put into that.
It'd be 26, but
is it? No. Oh yeah. That's right. The Worlds are next year. Come on, Keenan. Come on, Lefty. I keep forgetting that. I'm getting the 10 scale Worlds confused. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, man. I look forward to seeing you at Peach State. You're going to be doing another clinic there as well. I think you're going to enjoy it there. It's a nice facility. It's going to be a little cold, so bring your hoodie and all that type of stuff. Yeah, well, cold for me. You know, like when it's 50 degrees at night, that's cold for me. Yeah. 55.
Before the trip, I'm doing a rain trip, so I'm adding a few extra days. I'm bringing my bike and I'm sleeping in my van, a few different spots.
Dude, it's beautiful up there too. It is beautiful up in those mountains. I think you're going to find what you're looking for up there. All right, Tebo. Well, I appreciate your time. It was great reminiscing about the Worlds with you. Thank you for all that you've done. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see you next weekend, dude.
All right. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Always appreciate being on here. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, supporting the industry.
And hit up JTP.
Yeah. Yep, go JTP. I busted out the old retro shirt here, repping both my World's wins, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
See you next week, man. Safe travels. Good luck to everybody who's going to the Worlds. Wish I was going to watch you guys, but I'll be watching online. So good luck. Go get after it out there. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Sweet, man. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Thank you to BeachRC and Brent and everybody there for their continued support. The RC program was awesome. Looking forward. I think I'll be at Masters of Dirt. Not sure. Still haven't been confirmed. And of course, I think I'll be at the Fall Brawl at the end of the year. Well, end of November, beginning of December. If you guys can, we have an affiliate link in this podcast. You can use that. That can help us out. We greatly appreciate that. So I just wanted to touch on the Worlds real quick. The Worlds is coming up. It's awesome. I've been talking to people, like making our picks. I'm looking at everybody that is going to the Worlds, and everybody's excited, and it gets me excited, right? And I just wanted to touch on just because I think a lot of people try to downplay the World Championships, and they shouldn't, because it is a big deal. It's the one time that we really get to see these drivers come together and race each other. You know, we don't have that too much, right? So it's always good to see that. And to see it in America for the first time in 10 years, because the last time was 2013 in Chico, to see it there, see it at a place like Hobby Action, which is awesome, and see all the preparations that they made, you know, seeing that whole wall with all the past winners and stuff. I think it's so awesome, and I think it's such a big deal. I see Matt Olson, he's assembled a great team to do the coverage, so I'm going to be trying to sneak and watch that coverage while I'm working myself. So this is a really big deal. I think we should pay attention to it. I still think it's Spencer Rifkin's race to lose. I think Dakota Fenn will be his biggest challenger. I think Brock Champlin will be fast. Tebo said he thinks Aiden Horn's going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know which Europeans are going to do well. Something tells me Ongaro will do well. I think you'll see Arlovsky do well because these guys are just really good. Coelho as well. I think Chase Lemieux is my dark horse going into this, but I think it's great. You know, the World Championships make a lot of excitement. It's great for RC. I wish we had a series to determine a champion, but we don't. But this is the next best thing. I hope you guys do pay attention. I don't know, you know, in the comments, tell me who your top 3 is going to be in four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. In four-wheel drive, I have Rivkin, Fend, Ongaro. In two-wheel drive, I have Rivkin, Champlin, Fend. Yeah, I don't have any. I have no Europeans in two-wheel drive. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Ongaro could be fast. Coelho could be wrong. But I just think with this surface, it's going to be very difficult for the Europeans. But at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top, and that will happen as well. I could completely wrong. It could be completely dominated by Europeans, or it could completely be dominated by Dakota Fenn or Spencer Rivkin. But I look forward to watching it. I hope you guys do watch it as well. Share it as much as possible because this is the upper echelons of our hobby. It's a 10 scale world. It hasn't been in America since 2013. The last time they had a world was 2019 in Slovakia, and it is a big deal, everybody. Everybody that's in attendance, have fun. I look forward to seeing everybody's individual content that's coming from there. And I just want you guys to soak it all in, enjoy it. I'm kind of wishing, I really am wishing I was there now. But I will make this one. After going to my first Worlds last year, it is a race that if you're an RC enthusiast, if 10 scales your thing, or 8 scales your thing, or ONROAD your thing, the Worlds is a race that you want to attend at least once in your life. Don't let people downplay it. It is important. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to organizations, and may everybody have fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. That's going to conclude our podcast this week. Thank you, Tebo, for all that time. I want to say thank you to David Ronnefalk for all the support of the podcast, as well as Mayako. I wish both of you the best as well going into the future. Thank you to everybody out there that supports the podcast. If you're racing this weekend, have fun. If you're going up to Gary's race, tell him I said what's up. I wish everybody the best up there at the TZO Team Shuffle. I'll be out of here going to the H2GP. You can check my content out on there. That's going to be interesting. And then, of course, I'll see everybody in the Southeast at the Georgia Pete Steak Classic next weekend up there in Tiger, Georgia. I look forward to being up there with you guys and doing some commentating, talking RC. Thank you, everybody, for the continued support. We cannot do this without you. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please hit that like, sub, notification button, dislike button on YouTube. We're trying to get up to 5,000 subs by the end of the year. We're up at 4,300 and some change right now. So help us out. Hit that notification button. If you are listening to us on an audio only platform, please leave a review and share. And don't forget to share. With that said, I'd like to say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Shout out to the patrons and YouTube members of this podcast. If you wish to support this podcast, you can. There's links in the written description of this podcast to do that. And thank you to these awesome companies that support us. They are Invisible Speed, Mayako, High Tech RC, Sidewinder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Techno RC, Beach RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Sun Pedal USA, Clinic RC, Racecraft USA, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC. Shout out to Donovan RC as well. Don't forget to them, new sponsor. WRCE, we do RC Media, Florida RC Championships. Big exciting news about that. Shout out to House of RC, RCGP, David Ronnefalk, our drivers, David Ronnefalk, Alexander Hagberg, Robert Badier, Jared Tebo, and Matty G. Good luck, Matty G. And that said, Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. 10 scale paying the bills this week and building those skills. Lefty is out. As soon as I find that outro.